I need $1 bad.
Week Tua, bet on that thing. The Lion Chasers are back with a player prop special tonight. Coming at you with some bets we love and a handful of games coming up this week. But we're going to start off with a Thursday night football recap. The Buffalo Bills lay it on the Miami Dolphins. Tua gets hit in the head again. He sucked before that. They might be better off with Skylar. What's his name?
No, definitely not, brother. That boy needs relegated.
Big game from Cook, the running back, had 3 total touchdowns. I don't know. Are the Dolphins season over? They're out of playoff contention?
If Tua's done, yeah. Like if Tua's hanging up the cleats, it's over.
I agree.
But I mean, I don't think they were going to do much. They're probably going to maybe make the playoffs anyway. But that team, like I said, the preview pod, week 1 was their defense, and we saw it today. Not good. Lost too many guys. Defensive line soft. Just a soft team in general. And they got absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, usually it takes until later into the season when it shows that they're soft. Usually these first couple weeks are when they're flying around everywhere.
It's Thursday night, but those boys were wanting to get to the club early tonight. They did not want to play.
Oh, I might add though, all three interceptions for the most part. I know 2 were inside their own 50 and 1 was around that 50 line. So I mean,
Didn't he fumble too?
One, no.
No, I don't believe so. I think it was just 3 picks. But even think my thing is, and I understand the backups were playing like the score was almost out of reach, but Bills only scored 10 in the second half. It was 20, or I believe it was 21-10 or 24. It was 24-10 going into half, and they only scored 7. They had 1 touchdown.
They missed like a 30-yard field goal as well.
Yes, yeah, Bass missed the 30-yard field goal. But honestly, I credit a lot of it to just good field position for them. I mean, they didn't really have to do much in terms of. I never, honestly, the Bills' offense didn't impress me this game whatsoever. Like,
it wasn't a fumble; it was the failed 4th down conversion at like the 50-yard line. I agree. They had the ball on their own to start in their own territory or in the Dolphins' territory like 4 times.
I think that maybe not impressed, but just I don't know. I think that the way that Joe Brady calls that offense, and the way that they just are willing to spread the ball around to anybody who's open, like they're not. It's not like how they were before Brady took over, and it's just feed Diggs under Ken Dorsey. It's they will get it. Whoever's open is getting the ball, and they're gonna pound it in your face. And like we said before the podcast, shout out Mina Kimes, 60% of snaps, defense is playing 2 high safeties. And when the Bills come out there with the big sets with 2 tight ends, they are at an advantage when they're getting downhill and running.
Yeah, that's kind of versatility that they like out of Kincaid because like when he split out wide, you have to have a defensive back on him. So even though they're like in 22 personnel, that's a different matchup with Kincaid than it is for most tight ends in the league.
I don't know if you guys caught it either. Definitely the first, or I guess every series that Tua was in, Bills were also running 2 high safeties, and Hill and Waddle looked lost out there. Well, Tua wasn't making good throws, but
they looked gassed. They were coming out every other play. I was yelling at the TV as a fucking Dolphins better. The first third and 13, the when Tua threw the pick off the guy's shoulder, that was not Tua's fault. That one was not. But 3rd and 13, and we've got Tyreek and Jalen Waddle both on the sideline getting a breather. Like, what are we even doing? It's week 2. I get it. They're in Miami. It's hot. And they just came off of a crazy game. It's a short week.
Neither of them were in the game on 3rd down?
No, it was 3rd and 13, and neither one of them were in the game.
How does that make any sense?
It legitimately didn't make any sense to me at the time. I was very upset because they threw it to some guy. I have no idea who he is, and they just hit it off his shoulder pad because he wasn't even looking for the ball.
That was the pick. That was the first pick.
Yeah, and that was just bad vibes from there.
Well, Herb Street made a great point too, because if you guys noticed, and their three wide receiver sets, their third wide receiver coming out usually
Mhm.
with Hill and Waddle was Braxton Berrios. That's a problem. And he was making the point of when they were running those two high safeties, you put all your attention on these guys, kind of like how Bill does, where you basically double one and put basically it's over top safety and your
Bracket
strong
the other.
corner on it, and then you make that wide receiver 3 beat you. And Braxton Berrios is not beating anybody in the NFL.
The second interception, I don't like it. 2-0 sailed it for sure, but it also kind of looked like Robbie Anderson wasn't really sure when to get out of his break. Like he stumbled into his break. He maybe
Shocker.
turned the wrong way or something. Yeah, it.
Well, they
The
paid
first
Odell
two were
Beckham.
definitely not as bad as the one that he was trying to throw out of bounds.
They brought Odell Beckham in to be the third wide receiver, and shocker, he's not playing.
Shocker. Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna do some prop bets for week 2. We've got a handful to go into. We're gonna give you some from our. Go ahead, Hunter.
One more thing, sorry. I will say the shining spot is Achan. Coming off, he's hurt all week, doesn't practice all week, comes in and he got, obviously some garbage time catches and points, but the first quarter he still was running hard. If he gets, that's back-to-back games with 7+ catches out of the backfield for Achan. So that's the one bright spot. Once you get Mostert back, I'm almost tempted to see if the Dolphins, because I don't think Tua's going to be. I think Tua's career is done personally. I think the NFL will step in. Hopefully, I saw Des Bryant tweet out a tweet where
Yeah,
it's kind of
just
on them. But if they become buyers and you get Mostert back, Jalen Wright looked really good as well, running the ball really well. But I don't know. That's the one. That's
you
the
know
only
what's happening, right? If Tua's out, it's homecoming. You know who's coming back? Fucking Tannehill, baby. Ryan Tannehill is coming back to
Is he
Miami.
on a roster right now?
No, he's not. That's because all the buzz has been the Packers are going to get Tannehill. Tannehill's
I would
coming home.
love if
Does
Tannehill went
Cam
back to
Newton
Miami.
throw the pads on one more time?
Shut the fuck up.
The league stepping in, they would have to give him like a huge pension because
Oh, they're
like,
just gonna, yeah, and they're gonna
what's
guarantee
his
the rest of
fucking
his
contract? Are they going to give him 3? Yeah,
They're
they're going to
gonna
give him
guarantee it's
$300 million.
$160 million. Yeah, they would fully guarantee it.
Be a good look for them though. I guarantee they get a lot of like, hey, way to step in, like
Right.
very honorable, but who knows?
Tell the truth.
Do we want to start with Finster's bets, or do we want to go to our props? Should we get
Let's
Finster's
do
picks for the week?
Finster's. Let's do Finster's bets first. Yeah,
Do you want me to lead, or do you guys want to go?
you go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna lead with. So we're all gonna go because Finster wasn't able to make the Tuesday pod or this pod before Sunday's game, so we're gonna go ahead and give his picks for the week, get them official. First one I'm starting with is he's gonna parlay the Chiefs money line with the Jets money line for 1 unit at plus 115. Looking at this, yeah, the Chiefs looked really good and the Bengals looked bad. Bengals historically played the Chiefs great in the Burrow, Taylor, first Reed, Mahomes era. I think obviously that the Bengals are going to win this game, but I understand Chiefs money line is probably in people's eyes a safe play, a safer
What
play.
are the final odds on this parlay?
He said it was at what I have not checked it, but when he gave it, he said plus 115. Jets obviously going down to Tennessee to play a Titans team that is absolutely distraught as 4-point underdogs at home. Jets off of a I wouldn't say bad just because the 49ers are good, but off of a tough loss for the expectations coming into the season. Defense did not look good. Bob Salah continues to be one of the worst head coaches in the NFL. Like, just keeps getting away with it. I like the Jets part of this.
It's an interesting line.
Seems like a ratty kind of line. That's my problem. I think Jets -4 should be pretty easy, but also
Yeah, on paper, the Jets are definitely a way better team.
yeah, but also the same thing last week. The Bears were. Was that game in Chicago, Brent?
Yes.
Yeah. So in Chicago, the Titans were 4-point dogs. They are handling the Bears until they completely implode. Like, I don't know. I want another week from the Titans, but I understand these picks, especially knowing Finster. This makes complete sense to me. So his picks are Chiefs money line, Jets money line, plus 115 parlay.
That line has also moved down in that Titans Jets game. It's at 3.5 now.
Really?
Yeah.
So People are
That's
tightening
10
it up.
minutes. I mean,
I've got it.
I gotta see another game from the Titans. I'm not giving up yet,
Not either.
except for maybe in Dynasty. I might be giving
You're
up.
saying that you're getting Titans money.
Yeah. Yep.
It's still at
I,
4. It's still at 4 for me here, huh? On DraftKings.
It's 3.5 on Bovada, William Hill, Caesars, and FanDuel.
that's so weird. I'm on DraftKings and sister. Maybe it just updated. I don't know. I'll make mine real quick. Me and Fencer are having the same bet. If you guys listen to our week 2 picks, he is going with 49ers -6 at Minnesota. Both lines are going to be -110. Kind of the same reasonings.
It's
I'm
5 now, by
going.
the way.
Yeah.
Okay, my stuff's just not updated, I guess. Okay, so we got -5. So I'm the sucker here. -108. There we go. It's updated and it's fine. But I guess Tony's probably thinking similar to me. I just don't know. I think Brant made a good point in the first or the episode this week where does Darnold know Shanahan better? Does Shanahan know him better? And obviously, I think you got to give the nod to the coach here. Justin Jefferson's probably going to get his. He's too good not to. It's a CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill type of guy. But I think the 49ers offense or defense and offense actually is just too overwhelming for this team. Kevin O'Connell, great coach. A lot of respect for him, what he's doing, especially what he's had to deal with last year and coming into this year, with both starting QBs going down. But I just kind of see this honestly as more of like a tune-up game. I made the point that the 49ers usually start off strong. I believe they started 6 or 7-0 last year. And I kind of see it again happening. But yeah, just look for a routing from the 49ers, but I don't think the Vikings are anything too impressive here.
Similar to the Jets Titans game, this is a road favorite that is clearly on paper the better team, and you have to have some type of different reason for backing the dog here. Like if you're just looking at this game, straight up roster versus roster, like you know who the better team is.
I would say that just I don't really understand this line. I think that Niners my side. The Niners are going to win this game probably 2 touchdowns. Like I think they're going to Jordan Mason is going to run down their throat. Vikings D line is not that impressive, and their defensive coordinator Flores loves to do exotic blitzes and shit. I think that Shanahan's gonna. I think they're
Too much
just gonna run it all
creativity in that
over him.
offense. Too much creativity.
I think they're gonna run it all over him. But, yeah.
And
And
then
his last pick.
the last play that he's doing is sorry, I'm looking for the number here. It's Caleb Williams rushing yards, doubling down from last week. His total right now
He
is
upped the
at
units. Yeah, he upped the units. He's mad.
no,
He was so mad at that hook.
I don't know. Yeah, it lost by half a point last week.
Yeah.
A lot of us played it. I
He
played
put
it
it
last week.
It was 16.5 last week,
and
so
he
I
put
bet
it
it.
at
Yeah, I'm
it's
sure
at
it's
17
around
and a
there.
half. Is what he said. It's at
Yeah.
17 and a half when he found it. So
I played it.
also
I
at 17
laddered
and a half.
it last week at 16.5, 25, and 40. And
You guys were crazy for the ladder. He never ran that much even in college, dude. Like I think that's a little crazy.
I was basing it off of rookie quarterbacks not being completely up to date with their system and their checks and all that stuff. Although I have heard that he apparently is super smart and he gets everything really quickly.
Now I
Just
think
a
that's
rookie quarterback tendency to run and his tendency to be used to scrambling a lot in college, which is going to translate as we saw in week
because
1 with this Bears offensive line not being great.
Caleb Williams takes that I think he's too online. I think he tries to say everything possible to make himself look good, and I think it's all horseshit. He wants to. I think he's going again. He's like, I'm not gonna run. I think it's like he literally is like, I'm not going to run, and he wants to just try and make some ridiculous throw instead of trying to pick up the easy yards with his legs. I think it's a mental thing that he wants to try and prove a point.
I like this line a lot. Again,
Dude, we
I'm
did
gonna be
this.
I'm gonna be the sucker, and my only thought process is there's no way. When he got scrambled last week, he kept trying to do the backwards spin move
I actually
and
might have
trying
one.
to get out. There's no way that they're not in there telling him, "Hey, roll out, use side to side motion here, and take advantage of that." Because there was many opportunities when he ran, it looked fine, and I just don't think, and especially with Will Anderson coming off the edge, and then I forget their other DN, but there's going to be opportunity there. I don't think they're going to be allowing him to do the college bullshit of just trying to run in the backfield.
No, the Texas defensive line is too good for him and too athletic on the edge for him to spin out like that, like he always tries to do. Yeah, scrambling backwards is not going to work.
I can't.
I think I kind of like this play too.
I don't know if I'll bet it, but I like it.
Right.
Hold on, I got it here.
I,
Caleb Williams to throw an interception minus 160, I think, is very tasty.
Minus
He didn't.
160.
Yeah, he did not throw one week one. He's itching to throw one on Sunday Night Football. I'm telling you.
Luke is totally locked into Caleb Williams' mental state right now. Psychiatric diagnosis.
I'm in his head. I know that he's thinking, he's like, CJ Stroud was so fucking good last year. Everybody's like, I need to be CJ Stroud. You're not CJ Stroud, buddy.
Luke, let me ask you a question, and I guess Brant, too. You guys are both Ohio State guys. Is you got at least I've always heard Luke, when Stroud played at OSU, you always griped about him not knowing when to run. Do you think do you think Caleb Williams is legitimately scared to run, or do you think it's more he needs to just find his little times to run?
I think Williams is a better runner than Stroud, first of all.
For sure.
Yes.
The Ryan Day offense was changed specifically to the fact that Stroud is not as good of a runner as Ohio State has traditionally had, and ran a lot more pro style looks
Ryan Day
because of that.
Like Fields didn't even run at Ohio State. Like when Fields got taken
Fields
out,
wasn't allowed to. Fields ran in
Yeah.
big games, but
I'm more saying on broken plays. Like, I think with this Texans D line with Brant saying, there's not going to be a lot of times where he just has 3 to 5 seconds sitting comfortably in the pocket,
Yeah.
able to progress through his reads.
I think that's a difference with CJ compared to Caleb is Caleb has the highlight throws and shit. CJ was never panicking, or when a play in a pocket is breaking down, CJ is the most calm, cool, collected player, especially at his age, that maybe I've ever seen. He's always looking to throw it. He like CJ running it. He ran it against Georgia in the Sugar Bowl, but that was like or the Peach Bowl, whichever it was. And that was like the only time he had ever done it. And it was because he actually had like legitimately he would go through all four or five of his routes and no one was open. So he's finally like, okay, now I'm gonna run. He's progressed. He has to see every option covered before he's going to run. I think Caleb is more of, I'm either gonna roll out and chuck it because I see a guy one on one. He might even be covered, but he's one on one. Whereas, or he'll run it as compared to Stroud.
yeah, I compare Caleb more to like Kyler Murray's kind of run
Yes, I like
game.
that.
Not just because of their build, but because Kyler is a situational runner, but he's good, one of the best at taking advantage of like when the defense is in some type of a man look where they turn their back, or if a blitz doesn't get home, where he's able to take advantage of it. Kind of like Burrow, maybe, like not running because he thinks it's a weapon, but running when it is a possibility.
Yeah.
Rodgers, when he was younger.
Yeah. Two, we got to think about Rome Odunze is not playing.
I was just about to bring this up.
Keenan Allen
is probably might not play.
Keenan Allen had a huge target share and air yardage share in week 1.
He was eating it up, if you know what I mean.
I like DJ Moore a lot in this game too. There's got to be somebody catching this ball.
I think that this might be just an absolute fucking ass stomp. Like I think that they might get their shit beat in.
Look out for Swift receptions as well. That's
I don't
Man.
like that.
No,
I
he
like
plays
the
plays in the pass game for
I
sure.
didn't watch any of other than I turned on actually literally when Levis threw. Quote me. What was the running back splits there? In that Bears backfield, what was it looking like? Was Swift playing most of the game?
Swift, it's not like I don't know like the numbers, but in my opinion, it's not a first, second down, and then third down thing. It's more of like a Swift gets 2 drives and then Herbert will get a drive kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Roshan Johnson's not even getting playing time, right?
Listen,
I don't think so.
Luke, you'll love this. Listen, so this is I can't really explain and kind of actually the pass game. But I'll tell you what their finishing rushing stats were to give you kind of an idea. Swift was 10 for 30. DJ Moore got 1 rush. Velus Jones got 2 rushes and 1 reception. Travis Homer got 2 rushes. Khalil Herbert got 2 rushes.
Swift
They
was
were
10 for
down
30
most of the
with
game,
a
but
20-yard rush as well. So
20-yard
outside of that
rush.
20-yard rush, he was 9 for 10.
I really thought the Bears' O-line was going to be better, but it might not be. I feel like we've talked about the Bears and Caleb Williams enough.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on to a game that Hunter and I both prop bets in, and that is Tampa Bay at Detroit, noon on Sunday. Detroit was 7. They were 6.5, and they were 7. Now it's 7.5, and the total is up to 51.5. Hunter, you want to tell us what you're betting?
Yeah. So once again, kind of touched on it. I like this total. Once again, I think Vegas is doing well. I think both offenses are high powered. I'm also a huge Baker guy. I've stated that I think both weeks now. And I was an Amon-Ra better in this Lions Ram week 1. One of my go-tos when it comes to props, and obviously it didn't turn out well. Last year, Amon-Ra had, I believe, 10 for 126 and a touchdown in a regular season game against Tampa in Tampa. And Brant kind of pointed out it, I think we all did in week 1, where this Tampa Bay defense is very, very banged up right now, especially the secondary. So first player prop, I'm going to go as Amon-Ra over 80.5 receiving yards at minus 120. I looked at the receptions and it's 6.5 at minus 140. If that line moved 7.5 at plus money, maybe could sprinkle it. But I'd rather just play the safe bet and go. So maybe a sprinkle there, but not at minus 140. But my main thing is Amon-Ra, all pro last year, didn't make the Pro Bowl. Don't understand how that works. This year, playing with a chip on his shoulder, he wanted to be a Pro Bowler last year. Too good not to get fed the ball. And I think it's due for a bounce back. And then the opposing side, Mr. Wonder, Mr. 1,000-yard every single season for 40 straight seasons. I'm going Mike Evans over 68.5 receiving yards. Once again, I really like this over. So I'm expecting a lot of offense. And honestly, what Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua was doing to this secondary, I expect to see it with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. But I'm just going to be with Mike Evans over 68.5 at minus 125.
That is hilarious because my play for this game is Mike Evans under 69.5 yards. I agree that this might be a high scoring game. But I think for your comparison from last week, Mike Evans and Cooper Kupp are two completely different style wide receivers. I think that even if Baker has good numbers, that Godwin and McMillan are the deep threats on this team. Going to some stats here. Mike Evans had over 69.5 yards in just 6 out of 17 games last year. I think the Lions secondary has improved. You've got Carlton Davis in at corner against his old team, so he practiced against Mike Evans all year last year. They bring in Amik Robertson from Las Vegas to play the slot, which allows Branch to play at safety, which I think is more his position that he should be playing. So I think despite a really tough matchup last week against a Rams pass offense that's as talented as any in the league, I expect this season for the Lions secondary to take a step. And so my play is Mike Evans under 69.5 yards.
Good luck, sir.
Yeah, best of luck.
Sunday night recap.
While you guys were talking, I just cooked something up for the Seahawks Patriots game, so you can either throw it to me now or later. I don't care when.
No, let's go now to that game. That sounds good.
All right. So just throwing it out there. If anybody didn't watch the Seahawks Broncos game, the Seahawks were able to give up 2 safeties in the first half. So if you go to DraftKings right now, the New England Patriots to score a safety is at plus 1,600. I'm not saying bet that, but it's just a fun one to look at. I love Jason Myers over 1.5 field goals in this game. I think that the Patriots defense
digging deep.
I think the Seahawks can move the ball, but I don't know if they're going to be able to get into the end zone. I also love where the fuck was the sacks? Hunter, I need your help here because I want to pick some player to get a sack. I don't know enough about your defense to know who it is.
White.
It's Keon White.
Yeah.
Keon White or Uche.
See, they know this because they don't even have him on here. Unless I'm on the wrong. Yeah, they don't even have him on here.
White had 2 sacks last week. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for because I remembered you saying White, and I was like, I don't know who that is. But yeah, they don't even have him on here.
That's why he's the guy. He's the reason we traded Judon.
Yeah, that's tough. But I do love that. I love that field goal bet. I like Jason Myers over 1.5 field goals. That's at minus 120.
Yeah, that's
I
an
love
interesting bet, especially because this total is at 38.5. But I
I'm not
also
going to
think,
put a unit on that. That's an official pick. I'm not putting a unit
yeah,
on pure safety. But
I
we'll get a little
I
crazy.
also think last week the Patriots defense really they played well, but they didn't have much of a challenge. The Bengals offense was a mess.
Yeah.
I don't know that I still think the Patriots defense is going to be good, but I don't know that they get a ton of credit for stopping the Bengals last week.
There's
Which is why
points
my
zero.
play for this game is DK Metcalf over 51.5 yards, minus 110. He got over this number in 11 of 16 games last year.
It's
He had
hard.
only 2 games last year less than 45 yards, and this number is sitting at 51.5.
Yeah, that's a good number, honestly.
Yeah, similar to Hunter's Amon Ra bet. I just feel like this is a bounce back game for a guy that has seen a ton of volume in his career and has a high floor for his receiving yards historically, and it's a pretty low number. So DK over 51.5 for me.
I have one I'd like to. I'm not going to bet it. It's a lean, but I saw it earlier. Once again, I'm kind of riding the Ramondre train, and I know that you guys are banged up on the defensive line, but I actually liked the way he was running. I believe almost 110 of his 125 yards came after contact.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So he is getting banged up out there and straight through it. I love it. Right now, you can get this is a weird one too, Luke. Ramondre Stevenson over on his longest rush of the game at 13.5 yards. I believe it was sitting at like minus 112. I think he can break one. I don't expect, honestly, a huge output. The Broncos running backs looked lost playing the Seattle defense, which I don't know. Javonte Williams every year I say is
Are
going to be
any of
great.
them good?
Well, I've always thought Javonte was, but he disappoints me every year.
People thought
It's
he was
like
going to
outputs
bounce back
everything
from
for
his
me.
ACL. He may just be
He
it
may
may
just
just
be
have
done.
fucked his knee up. Yeah, he might
Yeah.
not have a year. Might not have helped. Also on this game, Kenneth Walker hasn't practiced yet this
I was
week.
just
So
about to get to
No
this.
line. They haven't released the line for him yet.
Yeah, I was
if
looking if you
it's
could get any juice on Charbonnet, but they're not giving you anything.
if it's Charbonnet as the number one back, look to them going like 11 personnel, throwing it to him out of the backfield, throwing the ball around a lot.
Yeah.
What
All
do
right.
we think about another line? One more thing, real quick. Another line that caught my eye. Just was curious on your guys' thoughts. Jacoby Brissett's line is listed at 14.5 this game.
He
rushing.
looked so slow last
I
week.
know. Yes, for rushing.
Does he run?
No.
He ran no, but the 14.5 for him, it's like a confusing. It's like they're baiting me to take the under.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. I thought you were
I
going
don't hate.
over.
I would be curious to see what his career average for like rushing yards is. How much he ran when he was in Cleveland.
I don't
It
hate
doesn't
that
make
at
sense.
all. Actually, I thought you were going over, and I was like, "What? No,
No.
under." I don't hate that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
might have to
something
think
that
about
one down
that.
to look into later. All right, next game we're gonna go to is Indianapolis at Green Bay. This spread is Green Bay +3 or 2.5 at some books, and the total is sitting at 40.5. So, Hunter, you said you had a bet for this?
I do. Anthony Richardson, we were just talking about the Texans defense, tough defense. I kind of think this offense solely relies. I understand how good Michael Pittman is and can be, but I really do think this runs through Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor. I do think this team needs to almost average probably close to 120 to 130 yards rushing per game. If they're going to stay in some of these, I think they're a really good team and can do that. But for instance, Anthony Richardson, 6 rushes, 56 yards, and a touchdown last week with a 19 long. Line is currently sitting at 39.5, minus 115. I just don't see a world where I was surprised Jalen Hurts didn't run more, to be quite honest with you, against
That's
this
one thing I
Packers
was gonna
defense.
say. He couldn't.
Um,
He literally couldn't. They were keeping him in the pocket and not letting him go.
I know. I just think this Colts offense runs a little differently. I think we're going to see a lot of read options. And the thing with this duo, in my opinion, is one miss here and you're burned. These guys can run very, very well. I think their schemes are made for it. And I expect him, honestly, to get a lot more than 6 carries. He really didn't run in a lot of um, run design sets. I believe 4 of his 6 runs were out of just play like falling out plays. So expect to see it. I think the line's a little low. I think it'll be more towards the 45 to 50-ish as the season progresses. So I'm going to try and take advantage of it early on, but we'll see. So I'm going to put a unit on that on the over.
I'm coming in almost the exact same reasoning as you. I'm just playing it with Jonathan Taylor instead. Is the Colts' tendency to want to run the ball, and I'm basing this off of some Taylor stats from last year. He played in 10 games, but if you guys remember the first 2, he had less than 10 carries, less than 50 yards in both games. Like they were just kind of working him back in. So in those last 8 full games that he played, Taylor averaged 88 yards per game and had 7 touchdowns in those 8 games. So I'm playing both Jonathan Taylor over 78.5 rushing yards and Jonathan Taylor anytime TD at plus 110, even though I think that most anytime touchdown odds are really far off from where they should be, just based on like how much they're getting bet and where
Plus
the books have
110.
them at. Yeah. After legalization, these numbers got really crazy. But yeah, he scored in 7 of 8 games last year. And I think this is a good matchup for the Colts to run the ball. And I think they're going to want to run the ball. And I think they're going to force the issue
Putting
running
a
the ball.
unit on Jonathan
Yeah,
Taylor
'cause
anytime.
I just looked at my word and I on there I literally had whenever JT line come out anytime touchdown. So I'm also who if you're
I cannot
watching
believe
this, I'm
that
also
is plus money. That's insane.
I'm pretty sure I was looking at DraftKings earlier today. Jonathan Taylor plus 110 and over 78.5 rushing yards. He averaged 74 rushing yards a game last year, but if you take out those first 2 games, it's 88. So those are my 2
Didn't
plays.
Saquon Barkley just have 3 touchdowns against this team? All right, I like that. Give me that.
that's
All
good
right,
value.
moving on. I have a play in the Browns Jaguars game. This is Cleveland at
Careful.
Jacksonville, -3. The total is 41.5. My play is Jerry Judy under 44.5 receiving yards. Watson threw the ball 45 times last week for just 169 yards
Unbelievable.
and 2 interceptions. He's not going to throw the ball that many times. Judy, of those 45 attempts, ended up with 3 catches for 25 yards. Amari Cooper had 21% of the target share, 46% of the air yards. This is a low total game. This is going to be a slow, low scoring game. And it's sort of a fade of a player that I don't really think is that good, who is getting hyped because he scored a touchdown in his first game, but wasn't really that involved in the offense. And the Jags secondary was bad last year, but it's kind of been revamped. They bring in Darnell Savage and Ronald Darby in free agency, and they're expecting second-year corner Tyson Campbell to take a step. So tough matchup last week against Hill and Waddle. I think that they rebound this week and keep Judy under 45
Uh,
yards.
the corner just hit the IR today.
Oh, really?
Yep. That's the
Which
one
one?
note I wanted to give you. The one he just mentioned, I'm
Tyson
pretty
Campbell?
sure. Let me make sure. Let me go back to my Schefter tweets because I saw this earlier today. One corner for the Jaguars at the IR today. And I'm pretty sure it was.
I'm not sure that that convinces me not to take the bet
I wouldn't
because
say it does. I'm just saying.
if it's Campbell, he's the Cooper matchup anyway.
Jaguars plays cornerback Tyson Campbell on injured reserve with a hamstring injury.
Did
Trey
That sucks.
Flowers. Yeah.
Oh, Trey
Is
Flowers is going to
Trey
play?
Flowers is active to the active roster.
Njoku playing this week?
No. I'm sure that's why Judy's line is where it is. But, I mean, I don't.
That's a great line for him. Like for me betting under, because I think he should be a mid-30s type of guy with how he's been playing.
Even if Watson gets above 200 yards, which I think is optimistic, I don't know that a quarter of them go to Judy.
I think they're gonna try to run the shit out of the ball.
Yeah.
That was my
Well,
thought. Is what does Jerome do this game?
A lot, hopefully.
all right. Well, whoever's keeping track, don't mark me down for that one yet. I'm going to rethink it, but I still am potentially going to bet Jerry Judy under 45.5, even without Tyson Campbell playing. All right.
I've got one in the Giants commies game.
I
Yeah,
also
let's
have
go
one
to
in that
that.
game on
Yeah, let's
Eastern.
go to that game.
Okay. We are headed to Washington, D.C. Giants coming in after a brutal beatdown from the Minnesota Vikings, who are also going to get stomped this week. Commanders coming off a tough loss where it could have been close. Score didn't reflect that. Jaden Daniels missed a couple open guys. But Giants coming in at +2. Favored towards them, over under being 43. This is a situation where I don't usually like doing this. I'm not a huge QB rush prop better. I already have AR. I'm gonna ride the hot hand. I'm gonna go Jaden Daniels over 52.5 rushing yards. This line is this team is just really, really bad. Jaden Daniels, we saw it in college at LSU, not afraid of contact. He gets rocked out there, and he'll get right back up and do a first down in your face. I expect
There's
him
that
to get
video, the
yeah,
compilation video of him getting rocked at LSU.
yes. And so same as last week, I expect him honestly probably to run more than Eckler and Brian Robinson, maybe in carries. But I think he's just going to be flushed out a lot. You got Kayvon Thibodeau coming off the edge still, and Dexter Lawrence coming up the middle. This Giants D line actually is not terrible, um, despite all the other bad things. So I expect a very similar outlook to what we saw in the Bucks game with him just literally running all over the field, no matter what play is called. So while the line is still low, I'm just going to try and ride the hot hand on that over 52.5.
I definitely see where you're coming from with that. And Thibodeau is, in my opinion, the kind of guy that could definitely flush you out of the pocket and not make a tackle. So, yeah, I like that play.
Yeah. So I have two plays here, one official, one not. We'll start with the unofficial one. Unofficial Brian Robinson Jr. plus 155 for anytime touchdown scorer. Aaron Jones carved this team up on only 14 carries. He got 98 yards and a touchdown. At this point in their career, Aaron Jones is still probably a little bit better than Brian Robinson, but Cliff Kingsbury historically loves to run the ball on the goal line. I think that Brian Robinson will be getting many touches on the goal line because I think that the Commanders will be able to move the ball on this pathetic ass Giants team. And then the other one that I have that is the official play, keeping it with him. Baker Mayfield just threw for 289 yards and 4 TDs against this team. Malik
Christ.
Neighbors is the only real fucking receiving option on this team. He is an absolute fucking stud, and we're going to take him to have 100 plus receiving yards, and you can get that at plus 330. That's an official
Fuck yeah.
play.
One
Give me
unit.
the juice. 1 unit.
Wow. Here we
Fuck
go.
yeah. I was waiting. I was like, I wonder what his numbers at. They're like 100 plus. I love it.
Fuck his number. He's getting over 100. I was thinking about 3 TDs. We're gonna chill.
3
Yeah, who
touchdowns.
else even catches passes for the Giants?
Wandale Robinson had 12 targets last game, but I think I'm going to chalk that up to pretty fluky.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know that they want to feature him that
I
much.
really want to find something that I like for Daniel Jones in this game, but I really am struggling to find it. I think Daniel Jones could have a bounce back. But
I
God, he's looked
also
so bad.
I also have one more play. Not in this game. So whenever we're done with this, but
I'm done with it. I'm just saying, if you want to get frisky, we've talked about this game a lot on the Tuesday pod. This game is fun as fuck. There's gonna be some shit that
this
happens.
is
It's gonna
my
be weird.
sleeper. This is gonna
Yeah.
be all over red zone all day. This
Yes.
is just a fun game to
Daniel
watch.
Jones to throw 2+ touchdowns is plus 170.
Real quick, Darius
Just
Slayton
saying.
still plays. He's still in the
Yeah.
Giants.
Yeah.
Jeez. He had 3 catches last week. All right.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No,
have-
it's just gonna be fun. Gonna be
You
some
have
crazy.
You have
crazy
one
shit.
in another game, Brant?
Uh,
tapped out.
no, that was my 5.
I'm tapped out.
I'm gonna take this into the Monday night game. I found a
Oh, I
line
love
that is
this.
tricky.
I love this.
Obviously, I probably will say this every week. I am one of the biggest Kirko chain supporters you'll find in terms of longevity and just consistency. You know what you're getting out of him. I think week in and week out that Achilles is going to get better and better. I'm not
He's playing
saying
rushing yards.
no, I'm not. I'm saying for pocket presence. But I found a sneaky line here, and I'm going to take that plus 330 from Luke and convert it to Kirko. We're going to go 275 plus passing yards against this
Wow.
Eagles defense. Jordan Love threw 260 on this team while only completing 17 passes out of 34 attempts. Once again, I think I said it in the first video this week for our week 2 picks. Drake London is still that guy to me. He will be. I think this is a breakout opportunity for him. And then you still have Darnell Mooney, who can have if I'm going off yards here, that's a deep threat option. And then who knows what Kyle Pitts is going to do. But also I expect kind of a bounce back game. I do have Falcons +6 already, so I'm kind of buying into this team here. I think it's a bad spot for the Eagles. I'm coming off a tough, long flight from Brazil and home.
Got 10 days rest, brother.
I was just kidding. I was making a Connor joke.
I was about to say.
But I'm gonna go ahead and put an official unit on the plus 330. Give me all the juice as well at 275 plus passing yards for Kirk Cousins. I love the spot. I expect him to light it up, and it should be a fun game.
Fun play, Hunter. I kind of like that one. Text me and remind me
Don't,
Monday.
but I
If
hope
I've
you
got,
win.
depending on how well I do Sunday, I might be tailing that one on Monday.
I don't like that, but I hope you win it because I won't be betting against it. So,
Thank you.
yeah, keep riding your Kirko chains, baby.
All right, that was Thursday. Oh, God.
We forgot one of Tony's bets as well.
Yep.
Tony also has Brees Hall
Oh,
over
yeah.
104.5 rushing and receiving for a unit. And obviously it's Brees Hall. I don't think we have to get too much into this, but
Yeah, he looked really good last week.
Was that
They
sarcasm?
don't have much other options on offense.
him and Garrett.
Yeah.
All right, that's Thursday night prop bets. Line Chasers coming at you with the hottest picks on YouTube and Instagram. Follow us at all of our shit. Follow me on Twitter. Don't listen to the 3 guys that aren't here tonight.
Yeah.
None of them are sharp. The sharp bettors are here tonight giving out the sharp picks. Thanks for watching.
I need $1 bad.